Welcome back. Blindness and visual impairment is a serious problem affecting large populations in the world, especially within developing countries like Nigeria. World statistics show that the causes of about 80% of blindness are avoidable, and that is very unfortunate. Most of the blind people live in the poorest countries of the world. With poverty being both a cause and effect of blindness, a cycle is created that can be hard for communities to break out of. However, we do believe that people with disability deserve the same opportunities as everyone else. Media reports on blindness put the population of the blind people in Nigeria at over 1 million, with about 3 million others visually impaired, with about 70% of the 190 million Nigerians living in poverty and earning less than $1 a day. The visually impaired do not have access to affordable treatment. With their hand-to-mouth existence, healthcare is not a priority. Children get severe vision loss or blindness, mostly due to treatable and avoidable conditions like vitamin A deficiency, measles, cataract, trauma, and optic atrophy. The burden of disability presents a major social, emotional, and economic burden for families, communities, and the nation. There was one name there I got stuck at. But this is not a very funny conversation, but just listen, we'll get informed. Okay, so to help us understand what's going on here, the Society for the Blind May Ball. What is it about? We have Shade Adefisaya, who's the chairman of the Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Beside her is Cyril Ojeme, Student Vocational Training Center.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having us.
On the other side is Bola Shobande, Vice Chairman, Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And Arid Tunde Imoyo, Vice Chair, Mayball 2019.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Let me start with you, Cyril. Tell us about your life. And how did you get here?
Thank you very much. My name is Cyril Ojeme, a graduate of Pure and Applied Mathematics, a mathematics teacher by profession. In 2012, I was diagnosed of glaucoma. I was a teacher then. Then by 2015, March, I had to resign my appointment because of the situation. In October 2015, that same year, I did operation on both eyes. Getting better, but along the way, there were complications, and I lost my sight 2016, June 2016.
You lost your sight altogether?
Altogether, 2016. Then by 2018, I spoke to a friend, and he introduced me to this particular society, this Vocational Training Center. By January 2019, I came down, and to the glory of God, I'm a student, a trainee in the center. It has been a wonderful experience, I must say, because we have a large set of members of staff.
You know, I asked this question because for you, for instance, you had your sight.
Yeah.
You lived a normal life.
Yes.
You had nobody guiding you around.
Yes.
So what was it like moving from there to here? How were you able to go through that traumatic and the adjustments?
Well, it was not easy, I would say that, because when you move from, let's say, from the light to the darkness, something different entirely. Frustrating, you're not doing what you're doing before, and having a family, because I'm a married man, having 5 children, set of twins inclusive, and not able to provide for them the way I used to. It was frustrating, and I became dejected, even to the point of almost depression. I wanted to take my life away. But thank God, people spoke to me. I was encouraged that I still have a lot in me. Being a teacher in mathematics, many people came to me, they spoke to me, called on me that life goes on. And I'm glad I took the advice, and today I'm better for it.
Mrs. Adefisaya, you're the chairman of this society. That means you get to meet a lot of these people. You get to deal with them. You get to assist in helping them get back to living, because they say it's still possible to live even with being visually challenged. Talk to us about
Well, the Federal Nigeria, maybe I should talk about what we do at the Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind. What we do is we support the visually impaired, people who went blind actually in adulthood or adolescence. So you heard from him, it can be very, very traumatic emotionally. They lose their living, they can't look after their families. Our society is not set up for people who are blind. They can't move about easily. There are uneven steps everywhere. The whole environment is somewhat hostile to their ability to work, to make a living, and to move about. So what we do at the center is that we now set up this vocational training center in 1958. The society itself dates back to 1955. And in 1958, the center was set up. And what we do there is to help them go back, to give them the skills that will enable them function. First of all, many of them need to learn to read differently. You are reading with your eyes, now you're going to read with your hands. You're going to read Braille. You are going to learn to move about. You've seen him with his cane, so that he can at least, the cane is sensitive enough, it'll help him move about everywhere he's going. And of course, we teach them mobility skills like cooking for themselves, getting up, making their beds, ironing, and so looking after themselves. And we try, if they want to give them a skill. If they want to go into employment, we teach things like adire making, soap making, and bead making, and some and teach them how to be entrepreneurs. In other words, and some want to go back to school, so we support them with their ambitions as well. So that's basically what we try and do.
Because Mr. Shobande, that tells me that you don't cater for those who were born blind. Am I correct?
Well, you are correct. It's actually those who have gone blind in the adolescence,
okay,
in their older years, that tend to come to the vocational training center.
Okay, but yeah, we also hear that it is more difficult for a person who has seen before and can no longer see. It's easier for those who were born blind, who have never seen the difference between green and white.
It's a very difficult readjustment process. And that is why when they come to this center, the very first thing we do is rehabilitation. A lot of counseling, because it is difficult to accept for most people that, their sight may be gone forever. Well, maybe not forever, because one never can tell what innovation will bring, in due
Have
course.
you had any whose sights were restored?
Some whose sights were partially restored. Partially restored. It is not, most people will say it's not a completely hopeless situation, but let's accept the reality of the situation. Many will be blind for the rest of their lives. So the counseling, the rehabilitation process is very important, and we pay a lot of attention to that. And what I find talking to them after they've gone through the rehabilitation is that they become more confident. So when we start taking them through mobility, when we start taking them through daily living skills, and when we start teaching them how to read Braille and how to make baskets and beautiful handbags, and the types that my colleagues are wearing here, it's amazing how they start becoming independent.
Okay.
And that really is the most important thing, that they become independent by the time they leave the center.
Mr. Dave said something, says, if they want to. Have you had cases of some people who, they were like, they had given up and they didn't want to?
Well, people who come to this center desire to be trained and to be empowered. So we have not had instances where people come to the center. I think she was probably referring to those who don't even turn up at all. But we've had good success rates. We have a lot of opportunity to interact with them. To find out how they are doing, both when they are at the center and after they've left the center.
Okay. Now, Arit, you are the vice chair, the Mabel. No. Tell us about this May Ball. We assume that it is a way of raising funds for the center.
Definitely.
Yeah, or for the society.
Yes. The May Ball is an annual event. You know, it's actually the major event of raising funds for the continued operation of the society. It's an event to showcase our students, to tell the world what they can do. For example, this Adire material was made by the student. They make beaded bags, or every of such.
You didn't bring any of the bags along with you?
Oh, it's in the car.
Okay.
Yes, you know, those what they make would be displayed on that day. You
And
know,
sold.
and sold.
Or auctioned.
Sold.
Okay.
We've actually some designers reached out to us, and they're partnering with us, and they're going to use the materials to make outfits for sale.
Interesting.
And we would have professional models model those clothes with our students.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes. It's going to be a fun-filled day. And really, you know, these students, they really need the support. Not just financially, but morally too, because some of them are able to work. You know, with technology, they can use the laptop with the JAWS software. We actually have a lawyer who was employed immediately after his training by the pioneer VC of the National Open University. He's working now. And then we have Zach, who is working with the USAID. He's an IT expert.
And is it?
Yes. Cyril here is a teacher. Some school can use him. With technology, he can teach. So, you know, we train, but we actually need support. We need them to be gainfully employed.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to take a moment. When we come back from the break, we'll look at the cost of running the vocational institution. I mean, it costs about 750,000 to train one person.
That's right.
That's a lot of money.
Minimum.
A minimum.
More than that.
Okay, we'll get the details when we come back from this break. Welcome back. We're looking at the society, the Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind. They're talking about the May Ball. Let's give you this information just in case you want to get in touch with them. They have a social media handles. On Instagram, it's FedNIGSOC. It's on your screen there. You have the Facebook handle, Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind. The Twitter handle with the hashtag FNSB Mayball 2019 and Adire Fusion 2019. And then you have the account details that you want to support what they are doing for our visually impaired and challenged brothers and sisters. Mr. Adefisayo, earlier I asked a question based on what you had said earlier. Let's just clarify that. When I said, you said something if they want to. Now let's look at what is it they want to.
Well, we have some people who come there, and maybe a young person who went blind just as she was about to do WAEC. So such a person would want to go back and do the extra classes. Like we just learned, one of our students just did WAEC. The results are out today. We hope they're good. So that's the alternative. We have a few who are like that. But most of them do, or want to go back to university, JAMB and so on, or want to do WAEC, want to go back to school. So we do have a group like that. And they're not, if they want, some of them do go into the vocations, but some of them are like, I want to finish my exam. I go back to school. Yeah.
The cost of training one of these people.
A few years ago, we computed the total cost, and we found it came to like 750,000. But with inflation and all, you can imagine it's no longer 750,000. It's gone up, and we cannot charge such school fees. At the beginning, you talked about the people who go blind. Most of them, economically, it's not feasible. They cannot pay the fees. Some have been out of work since they went blind. Some have never worked. And their families too are in difficult circumstances. So we cannot charge those fees. What we charge is a percentage of that, and it's much less than a fifth of it. So the rest we just try and get through donations. We also who are in the center do levy ourselves. We also contribute. It's not that we just sit there and call outsiders. So we set the example. We are role models when it comes to donating funds. And then we try and get as much from the public as possible. But it costs a lot. The salaries of their teachers, feeding and accommodation, because it's a full boarding institution that we have. And of course, they use fairly expensive materials. And so
How many students do you have?
Right now, we have about
40. Above 40 now.
No, we have between 40 and 50 right now.
Okay.
But it's the beginning of the session and people keep coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the May Ball. And we've been told we have to wind down. So let's talk about the May Ball. When is it happening and who's coming?
Yeah, the May Ball is on the 18th of May at the Muson Center at 6 p.m. where it's an opportunity for us to interact with our benefactors, our sponsors, the general public. We've invited everyone, captain of industry, and to come there and see our students, because our students will be there to come and dance with us, you know, and of course, support us as they've always done, you know.
And this ball is called Adire Fusion Ball.
The theme is Adire Fusion Ball. We actually would like guests to identify with us by wearing Adire, preferably Adire made by our students.
Okay, the information on the screen again, the Adire Fusion Ball is happening on May 18th at the Mission Center, you said?
Yes.
And everyone is invited. It's by 6 p.m. What you have there are contact information on your screen. You want to support the Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind. That's their bank account details, their Instagram handle, Facebook, and Twitter handles as well.
Yes, I want to also add that we have lovely raffle prizes. British Airways gave us a business class ticket and to London, and we have a weekend stay by hotels, and then we have dinner for two by restaurants. In fact, you know, people have been quite...
Okay. So this is for those who are coming. It's not for your students.
No, it's
so
for those.
So if I come, I could win.
Of course.
So
Please.
you do have other side attractions as well at the May Ball. Be there. You could you could win a prize.
And the ticket is 25,000 naira, and
ticket.
the Adire is 5,000 naira.
Okay, so altogether 30,000.
30,000 naira.
So everyone that's coming to that place, your gate fee ticket is 25,000 naira. It's a dinner, so you will eat. Don't worry, you will drink as well. And then the Adire they will give to you is 5,000 naira. There's music, there's fun and all. Just May 18th at the Mission Center, 6 p.m. But you can buy ahead of time. You can register ahead of time through those handles that we're showing on the screen. Is there a phone number that can be called?
Yes.
Just call it out. They will hear you now.
Okay, I'll give mine, 08033
08033
516614.
516614.
Yeah.
08033 516614. That's
Or
the
they
number
can
to
go
call.
to our website.
Or you can call any of those numbers or go to their website. But thank you so much for coming around. We wish you well at your ball. Shade Adefisaya, Chairman, Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind. Bola Shabande, Vice Chairman. Ari Tunde Moyo, Vice Chair May Ball, and Cyril Ojeme, Student, Vocational Training Center. Thank you all, and we wish you well at the ball.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sunrise will be back shortly for the home stretch. Please stay with us.